before I invite our next guest onto the stage, I want you to get to know him a little bit more, Spiritual Leader Gauranga Das, with this short video. Have a watch of this.
In a world chasing success, one man chose self-realization. An IIT Bombay graduate with a clear future laid out. He turned away from the world of commerce and walked toward eternal truths, joining ISKCON and dedicating himself to a mission of service, education, and leadership. A monk, a mentor, a messenger of ancient wisdom for modern times. From the Govardhan Eco-Village, a global beacon of sustainable living, he brings a message that transcends religion, culture, and background. A TEDx speaker, a UN-recognized sustainability leader, and a revered spiritual leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gauranga Das.
I don't need to say anything else. You're going to come onto the stage, Gauranga. You're going to speak for about 10 minutes, 13 minutes. Then I'm going to have a chat with you, and then you're going to have a chance to ask him some questions. So we've got an exciting 45, 55 minutes lined up for you. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Manoj Bhai, for inviting me this afternoon. I'm going to speak on the three foundational principles for seva, or service without selfish considerations, which dharma is comprised about. Dharma is a much talked about term, but here we are facing a world where we have 78 million Indians who have emigrated from Bharat in the last 1990 to 2020 period. Today we have 36 million Indians globally, almost 16 million NRIs, 20 million Indians of Indian origin. Out of the 500 Fortune 500 companies in America, 22 of them are led by Indian CEOs who employ almost 1.7 million people with a net worth of $1 trillion. And 72 out of the 650 startups in USA which have become unicorns are led by Indians. More than 60% of the hotels in America are owned by Indians, and what to speak of the 65,000 businesses which are being run in the UK by Indians, and a total of $37 billion worth of business which all of them are doing. 9,000 Indian restaurants and 2 million people visiting these restaurants every week, enjoying the Indian cuisine. So the point is, Indians across the world are having so much of impact in terms of artha or economy. I stand here to testify that Indians have a powerful role to play in the transmission of dharma. And today, I want to help you understand in very simple terms, in just 10 minutes, what is dharma. Dharma means four things. The first principle of dharma in Sanskrit, as they call it, samman, or respect. Respect for the will of the Supreme, respect for the Supreme, respect that there is a power greater than us. And that is encapsulated in this beautiful verse from Ishopanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magradakasya svidhanam. That each one of us has a quota, and we all have to abide by the universal laws, and we cannot operate independent of that. People ask me this question, that in a world today which is ridden by so much of ecological destruction, where air pollution causes 4.2 million premature deaths, almost 2.3 billion people across the world are water distressed, 2 billion tons of plastic waste, 300 million tons of plastic waste, out of which 8 million tons is thrown directly into the oceans. We have huge problem of people addicted to internet. 230 million people globally are addicted to the social media, 70 million in Bharat alone. The teenagers are spending 7 hours a day average. 1 in 7 people globally are mentally depressed in anxiety. 9 in 100,000 are committing suicide. The total loss globally because of mental health crisis is almost $1 trillion. In this context, many people ask me this question, Swamiji, you are from IIT. How did you land up as a sadhu? Hua kya? Some relationship problem? Some breakup? For your information, I went to the IIT in the same batch as Sundar Pichai. 89-93, he went to Kharagpur, I went to Mumbai. Few years back, we met at some wedding and we exchanged notes. And the first comment he made to me was, "You look younger than me." And I said, naturally, because you deal with Google, which creates stress, I deal with God, which relieves stress. So how my journey began was, when I was in IIT, I had a friend of mine who tried to commit suicide. I was shocked because he was one of the toppers. When I asked him, why did you try to commit suicide? He said very candidly, in every exam I would get the gold medal. In this exam I got the silver medal. I got the second rank. I could not handle it because I was addicted to being at the top. In the same exam, I had 4 or 5 of my friends who failed 4 or 5 subjects, and they were moving around the campus peacefully, blissfully, blessing others. Be cool in life. What's the problem? And I asked them, you guys are so shameless. How come you're moving around? And they said, our philosophy in life is simple. Entering college is our job. Taking us out of college is college's job. So that brought me to understand that yes, we are losing a major chunk here in terms of experience. That experience is defined not just by our expertise, but also by our expectation. And that's how I started studying the Gita, and I understood that stress is the gap between expectation and reality. And many times I may think I control reality, but the Gita says there is free will, there is evil, and there is God's will. And that is what is known as respect or samman. The second principle of dharma is samanvay, which basically means restraint. From our side, what is expected? Restraint. The Bhagavad Gita says, Nirashir yadajittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisha. All of us have a responsibility to restrain ourselves, respecting the needs of others and respecting the laws of God. And when we do not do that, we start engaging in a situation where we have practically no control over our habits. The climate change crisis is looming large. It's very clear through data that if you follow a plant-based diet, you have 100 times lesser impact on CO2 emissions. Today, across the world, almost 10% of the land is used for agriculture. Bharat has 2.5% of the world's land area, 18% of the world's population. And interestingly enough, if you look at the patterns across the world, then a country like South Africa has 220 kilograms of meat per capita. EU has 110, US has 128 kg, and India still has 3.1 kg per capita. And if the world follows the diet which people are following across the world and you eliminate India from the map, then the land area required for the same agriculture we are having would be 140% more. And if the world followed the Bharatiya diet, then the total land area required would be only 40%. And if India got influenced by the global diet and starts following that, then India itself would need 6 times more land. And therefore, dear friends, many times we do not understand the political, the financial, and the geopolitical ramifications of culture. Restraint, habits. Discipline is a fusion of intention with action. I was giving a lecture at a program in Yeravada jail in Pune. It's a very famous jail, you must have heard about it. I love jail programs. You know why? Because audience is guaranteed. No RSVP is required. So I was giving a talk. After the talk, I said, any questions? One prisoner raised his hand. He said, I have a question, but I will come on the stage and ask the question. I got a little bewildered. I asked the commissioner of police, who is he? And the commissioner whispered in my ear, he has committed 12 murders. I said, am I going to be 13th? He says, no, don't let him come. He came on the stage, asked this question, I gave the reply. And then I asked him, at such a young age, how could you commit so many crimes? He said, when I'm blinded by anger, it's a blackout. No discrimination. Today the education system is focused only on one word, success, Vijay. But in the dharmic tradition, the focus was not just Vijay, but it was beginning with Vinay, which is humility. Then Vairagya, detachment. Then Vivek, discrimination. Then Vijay. And therefore we are missing a very important element. So that's the second element. Samman, respect. Second, Samanvay, which is restraint. Third element is Sneha, or reciprocation. That you have to reciprocate with others around you. Consider others also to be part of your family. Prime Minister Modi coined during the G20 Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which comes from the famous verse Ayam nija paro veti gananam laghu chetasam udaracharitanam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. To think that he is different from me, it's a very narrow perspective. We consider the world to be a global family. And therefore, one of the key principles of Vedic culture has been considering the entire world to be a family today, but the whole world is suffering one of the biggest challenges, that we have given up the idea and culture of giving and forgiving. And because of that, conflicts are growing. Family as an institution is breaking down. I was in a program at a college outside of India. I gave the talk, and after the talk, a young boy came up to me. He was not Indian, talked to me in Hindi. I looked at him and said, you don't look Indian. How do you speak Hindi? He said, I grew up in a multimillionaire family. When I was 2 years old, my father was divorced. So when I was 17, I asked my dad, you've given me everything in life except the experience of a family. Real wealth is to have those things which money cannot buy. Please, let me have the experience of family. His dad said, well, I'm too old to give you the experience. Today, a country like Luxembourg has 88% divorce rate, Spain has 65% divorce rate, France has 55% divorce rate, Russia has 51% divorce rate, America has 46% divorce rate, the global divorce rate is 44%, India still has the lowest divorce rate at 1%, but if we do not invest in family as an institution, we are losing it very, very rapidly. This gentleman came to Varanasi, saw a plate somewhere saying that paying guest allowed in front of a house. He went inside the house, asked the people, allow me to be inside your house as a paying guest just for 2 years, just to experience what is the warmth and the love and the affection of family. If you allow me to experience the family for just 2 years, every month I'll give you a monthly rental of 1 lakh rupees, 100,000 rupees. That family said, why 2 years? Stay whole life. And then they said, if you have other friends also who want to experience, we could invite them too. Dear friends, what we invest in, we get the returns. Are we investing enough in our social institutions, in our family as an institution? Goldman Sachs came with a report that 2015 to 2025, the infrastructure investments in Bharat would be almost $1.4 trillion, out of which $800 billion would come from family savings. If there is no family feeling, why there will be family savings? So, unlike popular conception, people don't realize one of the biggest contributors to Indian economy is the homemaker, the wife, who is doing her job very quietly but robustly. A round of applause. So then, the last is when we go beyond Samman, respect, Samanvay, restraint, Sneha, which is, reciprocation, we come to the last, which is Seva, that is responsibility. So that's the holistic perspective of dharmic responsibility, which is based on the principle of Samman, respect, and Samanvay, which is restraint, and Sneha, which is reciprocation. Then it is complete and holistic. This Seva is based on selfless service, service without selfish consideration. And the important thing in a Seva is defining the intention. The dharmic traditions always focus on the intention first, before moving and jumping impatiently to action. And therefore, the whole idea of the dharmic tradition is purifying the intention to go beyond intention of desire, fear, and come at least to the level of duty, if not love. When I joined as a monk, I was sent to the kitchen, and one of my other monk friends joined after a month, and he was also sent to the kitchen. I asked him to make chapatis. After 3 days, he came and started complaining to me. And he said, I'm a big speaker in my village. I joined ISKCON to be a speaker, not to roll chapatis. I said, why you're telling me? I'm also making chapatis. So what's the point you and me talking? But anyway, every 3 days he would complain. After a month, he brought his suitcase and said, I'm going home. I said, why? He said, you guys didn't recognize my talent. I joined to be a speaker, not to make chapatis. 10 years later, I met him at an event. He came running to me. He said, after I left the ashram and the temple, I got married. After marriage, my wife got back pain every day at home. I am only making chapatis. Maybe I should have been patient. So seva means you are subduing your pleasures to your purpose. And that's the whole idea of selflessness. Every relationship has 4 challenges: scarcity, impediment, discomfort, unhappiness, but still the sincere desire to serve continues. And that's what Bharatiya dharmic traditions have always been focused on. Dear friends, I'm very glad that today Manoj ji has invited me to share with you Dharma 101, that unless there is Samman, respect, unless there is Samanvay, restraint, unless there is Sneha, reciprocation, and unless there is Seva, which is genuine responsibility, there is no question of any Dharma. Dharma is not just a political narrative, it's an individual responsibility. Thank you so much.
And that's for you. That's a present. You sit there and I'll sit here. I have 2 words to say to my magnificent guest after that magnificent speech. 2 words, only 2 words. Happy birthday.
That was not the script.
Am I allowed to say your age? He's younger than me, so that's it. How does it feel? How does it feel to have got this far? I can say that because we're basically the same age. How does it feel to have got this far?
It feels amazing. I never imagined that I'll be in saffron, but then I came across the Gita and that's how life changed. So taking care of so many people's lives, I have lost the count of the number of lives I have touched, and I feel proud and privileged that there is such an ocean of wisdom in our Vedic tradition which people are able to benefit from, and that's the reason I took the journey from technology to transcendence.
An ocean of wisdom in our Vedic tradition. Give me a word or a sentence that encapsulates it all. You've just given it's blown my head off, the 4 R's: respect, restraint, reciprocation, responsibility. I know we're just dipping our toes in it, especially me, I'm new to all this. Sum it up for us. Can you sum it up for us in a nutshell?
Yeah. Tolerance is to call off the war on reality. There is a reality. We have limited control. We may feel helpless. But the essence of all religious traditions is, even if you feel helpless, don't ever feel hopeless. So we are at the intersection between helplessness and hopelessness, and I stand in the middle with the torchlight of Vedic wisdom. I hope that helps.
It does help. And when there are so many religious traditions and many of us follow different religious paths, why did the Gita reach out to you and grab you? You graduated from IIT Bombay. You were heading to set up Google with Sundar Pichai. You were going to be a different man. You were going to look a lot older because you've kept your youth because of the path you've chosen. What was it that called out to you back when you were at IIT Bombay?
Yeah, actually most of us in India have heard of the Gita, and many people keep their children's name Arjun. But the fact is that very few actually study the Gita in detail. Like I remember when I was distributing the Gita, just an anecdote, and I showed the Gita to someone in the local train in Mumbai. And he looked at me and he said, "The Gita is for free, no?" I said, "No, it's for 70 rupees. Why should it be for free?" He looked at me and said, "Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna free. So why are you charging 70 rupees? I said, "Krishna spoke to Arjuna in Kurukshetra. This is Mumbai. 70 rupees is transport charge." So the fact is, Mark, that as many other Hindus, we have like more than 1 billion now on the planet, I was also not informed about the contents of the Gita. And many times it is not always the content, but the context which makes things very relevant. So no one ever presented the Gita to me in the right context.
So explain the importance of context.
Yeah. So the importance of context is the Gita explains in a very simple terms that all religions, however confused we may be about 31% of the population following Christianity, 23% following Islam, 15% following Hinduism, 8.5% following Buddhism, and everyone seems to be fighting and at conflict with each other. And the more you try to come nearer to religion, the more you seem to get bewildered by the amount of animosity and conflict from religious paths which seem to be teaching love. So you get bewildered and you take a step back and then you say what Nitesh just said, spiritual but not religious. But spiritual basically is healthcare. Religious means allopathy, naturopathy, Ayurveda, homeopathy, the various parts. So basically, all of spirituality is concerned with only 5 things. Like I visit conferences and I went to a conference on tourism as part of the Eco Village. So someone said, "Hey, you are a monk, what are you doing in a tourism conference?" I said, "Don't you know spirituality is also tourism?" He said, "No, I didn't think about it." I said, "Yes, because tourism means to take the body from one place to another place. Spirituality is to take the soul from one place to another place." So all traditions speak about 5 things. Where is the soul now? What is the destination of the soul after death? Third, what is the experience of the soul on reaching the destination? Fourth, what is the path the soul wishes to take to reach that destination? Fifth, what are the obstacles in that journey. So, all my life I was intrigued about one problem which I thought I need to solve. You know that? That was, is death a solvable problem? That was bugging me all my life. Can you fix the problem of death? Because, anything which you see, you want to fix it. The darkness, light, health, healthcare. So everybody is trying to fix problems. So death is a problem everyone is seeing, but after cremation, nobody is coming together to figure out, is this a problem which can be fixed? I thought there must be a solution. When I opened the Gita, I found the solution there. Not only there, all the religious traditions are actually in the main business of trying to fix the problem of death and helping the soul attain eternal life. So it's all about helping navigate the journey of the soul beyond death and then working backwards to live the life accordingly, which will help you get that destination. Just like you plan your career, you plan your education, you plan your travel in vacation, you work backwards by fixing the destination. That's how life is supposed to be led as per all religious traditions. And those who understand that never butt their heads with each other. They always have a cooperative attitude. Those who don't understand land up fighting.
On the subject of death, you hear, if you listen to the Indian traditions and any spiritual traditions, about the death of the ego, the death of the self, searching deep within. Can you just elaborate on all that for us in a few minutes? The importance of discovering your true self rather than the sensory experience that we all think is all there is.
Beautiful. That's a great question, Mark.
Thank you.
You would make a great student. There are three things which the Gita speaks about in the context of Arjun. So the name of the person whom Krishna speaks the Gita to, his name is Arjun. So Arjun is a warrior, very famous, very successful, very skilled, never lost a battle ever, like career record 100%. So he was like whatever you would want your kid to be ever. So he had everything going right for him. So therefore his swabhava or nature was of a kshatriya, of a fighter. His swadharma occupation was of a fighter. But then he went through a certain situation which caused identity crisis. And that's the situation which the Bhagavad Gita is trying to deal with. Identity crisis. So all of us create through our efforts in life 8 types of identities. Identity with our body, identity with husband or wife, identity with respect to our kids, identity with respect to money, identity with respect to our house, identity with respect to our vehicles, identity with respect to our power, influence, and identity with respect to social acceptance or rejection. Our entire life story is nothing but trying to manipulate and juggle and control these 8 identities. Like for example, one of my friends went to a conference and someone gave him a business card. On the card was written his name. Below the name was his educational qualification, which said PhD BF. He said, what is this? He said, PhD but fail. He said, what kind of card is this? He said, I never wanted to become PhD. My father wanted me to be PhD. Why? Because 2 of my other cousins were PhD. So what to do? Under social pressure I had to do. Then I had to leave because I couldn't deal with it. But then there was pressure, you should attend conferences. So to be honest, I wrote PhD, BF. But you know what? Most people think the BF is a degree beyond PhD.
Of course.
So how many times it happens that we make decisions in life because we may feel rejected. someone is doing something more. Comparison is the thief of joy. And the three cancers the world is facing today is comparing, complaining, criticizing. And therefore, here the context is each of these 8 identities is constantly moving up and down like a pendulum from morning till night. And therefore the Gita and all spiritual traditions are all focused on one topic only. How to address the biggest challenge each one of us is facing, which is fear, anxiety, stress, trauma, depression. And all spiritual traditions say there is only one and only one cause of that fear. Fundamental cause of that fear is only one. What is that? Change in your identity. The change in your identity with respect to these 8. Why a visit to the doctor causes trauma? When you come out with a report and the report says tumor. Why does that one word tumor or the one word cancer cause so much of anxiety? Because it has shifted your identity. My identity while entering the doctor's cabin was my body is healthy. When you come out, your identity is my body is sick. So your identity with respect to the body has changed. When there is a separation between a couple, it causes trauma. Why? Identity has changed. When the kids fail the exam, why does it cause trauma to the parents? There is an identity crisis. So morning till night, we are just trying to control these 8, and therefore we are experiencing anxiety. If you know it's going to be a cold British weather, you wear a coat, you prepare yourself. When you know from morning till night you are going to be subjected to change, how are we preparing ourselves to create immunity against that change? Prayer is the immunity which we create to prepare ourselves for that change. And all traditions, all religions talk about prayer. But because of AI and because of tech, we have stopped taking that seriously, and therefore we have made ourselves vulnerable to change which was always there, will always be there. Now we are only dealing with faster change, and we are dealing with less prepared individuals to cope with that change. Therefore, contemplative practices were always there to create the immunity for the soul to prepare for that change. When you realize beyond these 8 identities, I have a 9th identity, which is I am a soul. I have a relationship with the Supreme Soul, and that relationship is through service. That service is called dharma. Because the soul is eternal, it is called Sanatan in Sanskrit. Because the Supreme is eternal, he is called Sanatan in Sanskrit. So the relationship of service between the soul and super soul is called Sanatan Dharma. So it is not a political buzzword, but it is a deep, sincere individual responsibility of each one of us, which we have forgotten in the pursuit of a lot of artha. But Manoj Bhai has brought us together to help us reflect on how we can go back to our Sanatan Dharma. Thank you.
I want to offer it to you, wonderful audience. We've got 10 minutes, so put your hand up, tell us your name, where you're from, and fire away. Ask your question. We've got about 10 minutes, so let's try and get as many questions as we can. Gentleman there with his hand.
Go from the back.
Oh, we're going to go from the back, and then we'll come forward to you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Hemant from Washington, D.C. First of all, thank you, Manoj, for this wonderful event. I have a question. Once my friend in Boston told me that any question that you have in your life about your profession, your personal life, anything, you will find an answer in Gita somewhere. So, but I have the copy of Gita, which is really a big book. Is there any version that you recommend to people like us, which are not the spiritual animal, I call the non-spiritual animals? Any version that you recommend for us to go through it and get answers in life? Thank you.
Thank you, Himang Bhai. So, I can recommend to you the Gita which I have read. And interestingly, when Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, when he landed in London many years ago, so one reporter asked him that, Swami, what brings you to London? Why you have come to London? And Swami Prabhupada very nonchalantly, he said, well, the British, for 300 years came to India and took quite a few things, but they forgot one thing which I came to deliver, that is the Bhagavad Gita. And since that time, ISKCON across the world has distributed in more than 80 languages, 550 million Bhagavad Gitas all over the world. And people from different countries and contexts are connecting because there is a method there on how to build resilience, right? And therefore, if you go on a very simple website, open source, vedabase.io, www.vedabase.io, you will have all our books which we are distributing for, with a price. Hardback we are distributing for a price or every year. Almost 10 million books every year we sell. But still, entire repository is available free also, online on this. If you want audiobooks, there is another app called Transcend app. And on all the platforms you can download Transcend app, where all the literatures are also available in terms of audiobooks. So therefore, all of these literatures are available for us to experience, apply in our life. And as you rightly said, when we speak about Gita has answers for all professions, I would say that the university system is training everybody in skill. But what the Gita is teaching you is in the will. Arjuna had the skill, but he lost the will. How to get that will is important. And I was sharing this yesterday, that I was traveling to Kharagpur IIT for an event with two of my American friends, and we landed in Kolkata. And when we came out of the airport, we were welcomed with garlands, and we were told Bengal Band that day. So Bengal Band means vehicle will not move. So I asked my organizers, if it is Bengal Band in 3 hours we have to drive to Kharagpur, program must be cancelled. He said, no, program is on. We have come to pick you up in ambulance. And the ambulance will go and you will join that. So I was entering the ambulance, and my two friends from America asked me, why are we entering ambulance? I said, that's a great question, but the answer will take me half an hour because I have to explain what is bandh to you. So I said, you sit in the back, I'll sit in the front, I'll manage anyone who tries to create some trouble. So on the way, a group of people stopped us, a mob stopped us, and someone came to me and said, I want to see who's behind. I said, go and see. So this guy looks behind, and my two American friends with garlands around their neck after taking breakfast were sleeping peacefully behind. This guy looks in and said, may their soul rest in peace. And within 3 hours, we reached Kharagpur. So many times what happens in life is, worry is the interest we pay on loan we have never taken. So many times we start worrying so much without even anything happening. The Gita, through Arjuna, is teaching us that Arjuna had a situation where he just felt helpless, but he heard the Gita for 1 hour and it prevented him from becoming hopeless. Today, when a person is in psychological pain, he goes to the psychiatrist who tells him, pop the pill. But the ancient Vedic wisdom says, forget the pill, change the perspective. You can't change the size of the skyscraper, But you can go up 40,000 feet from the airplane and the skyscraper looks like a matchbox. So therefore the size of the problem may not change, but when you change the perspective, it becomes manageable. And you can live the next day and move on in life. That's what philosophy does. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question. Yeah, keep the questions brief. We'll try and get as many in as we can.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dr. Yash Gupta. I'm a surgeon, 40 years in the NHS and also in the private practice. I was invited to Harvard about 12 years ago, and there I went to a temple, ISKCON temple, and came across certain verses which changed my perspective, and they were scientific verses. And I'll just quote one of them from Bhagavad Gita, which Gurung Das Ji has so nicely. And this is very scientific, and people don't understand how much science there is in our scriptures. In fact, I wrote a book called Science in Sanskrit Scriptures. And this is just a verse explaining to Arjuna that Sahastrayug Paryantam Ahuryat Brahmano Vidu Ratrim Yug Sahastrantam Teho Ratri Vidujana, means 1,000 yuga have one day of Brahma, and such is the duration of night. And one yuga is the Chatra Yuga, which is 4.32 million years. So 1,000 is 4.32 billion years. And same is the duration of night is 8.64 billion years. And in our scriptures, it says Brahma lives for 100 years. 100 times 360 times 8.64 billion years comes to 311 trillions and 40 billion years, which is the age of universe. One kalpa.
Fantastic. Great.
Thank you.
Very inspirational. I hope many other people also study the Gita like you.
Yeah. Another question. Yes, sir. Right here, yes, sir. Stand up. Yeah.
Sorry, just a quick question. Pronounce.
And then you. Yeah.
And happy birthday, by the way. I'm just following on the theme on the identity crisis. Also in the Gita, you mentioned Arjuna's having an identity crisis because he has many duties, like we all have. We're brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, and husband and wives. How do you then do each of those duties and still have to do it in a dharmic way?
Beautiful question. This is one of the challenges the world is facing, that the typical leadership training which is happening, negotiation skills, delegation skills, this skill, that skill. If a decision has to be made in 5 to 7 seconds, will all of these different skills being taught actually help us in that way? Or should we fix at the core and then everything falls into place? So therefore, the important thing in the Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna was faced with the challenge where he saw his grandfather and he saw his teacher and then he saw his enemy. So Arjuna had a conflict with 3 identities. Am I a soldier who's supposed to kill the enemy? Am I a grandson who's supposed to love the grandfather? Am I a student who's supposed to respect the teacher? And so the context of the Gita is internal conflict is more traumatic than external conflict. Internal conflict, if unresolved, leaves you with no energy to fight the external conflict. So resolve those internal conflicts and battles first. And that the philosophy helps us. 3 things. First is Sukriti. When you do seva, you get blessings. That gives you second. What is that? Kripa. That is blessings. And third is seva. That is Sukriti, seva, Sukriti, Kripa, which gives Vivek, discrimination. So Vivek is a very interesting term. It is not just, it is not brain, it is not information. It is wisdom. The ability to make the right decision comes as a result of the various kinds of seva you have done, which accumulates as Sukriti, and the blessings which you receive, that translates in due course of time. So then you make that. So if you see Prime Minister Modi's interview with Lex Friedman, he talks about his spiritual journey so beautifully and the kind of tapasya and seva he did to a lot of saintly personalities, and when you see him making decisions, apart from the fact that he is very widely experienced in the social dimension, but there is a major dimension of the deep spiritual practices he has engaged in the past and also in the present. So it's all an accumulated thing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This is the final question. I'm sorry.
Thank
this
you.
is the last question.
Thank you for that. And today morning, somebody was having a 60th birthday. I wished him saying, happy 60th birthday, but many more to come. He said, why? He said, every day is a birthday for you, so have a celebration. Thank you very much, and happy birthday to you. So I'm an AI teacher. I do a bit of teaching. Recently, somebody was asking what is a large language model. I asked him, do you know what is Vedas? He said, no. I said, read about Vedas. These are the biggest LLMs. We know about it until Sam Altman or OpenAI launched them. So you go and start reading them, and actually you need to have a small command where you type it, you get the entire ritual of it. So my introduction to Bhagavad Gita was way back. I was in 5th, 6th class. Somebody gave me toffees to read for them. She was my grandmother. He said, read it for me. I didn't understand a single bit of it that time. For toffees and other things, I started reading. Dusta Ketuste Gitana, Samaveda Yohotsava, Mahamaka, Pandava Shaila. Whenever we read it, when I lost my father at a very young age and my brother also during COVID, Bhagavad Gita is the only thing which helped me to take forward, saying that this is what is our life all about, and we are just a journey, and a journey has to pass through it. Thank you very much, and just want to tell them that LLMs are not something which we talk a lot, but Vedas are the summaries of all the knowledge which we have. We need to just extract the proper command prompt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So for us, AI, artificial intelligence, from the Bhagavad Gita's perspective, AI is always inspired. That's what the Gita is inspiring us to be, always inspired in all situations. That is called sthita pragya or equanimity. So end by saying that accept the summary of Bhagavad Gita is accept the reality, collaborate with humility, and operate with equanimity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Big round of applause. Thank you.